Um, we are here to talk about the internet shutdown in Uganda. Um, I want to welcome my colleagues today, and Sylvia is going to give us an overview of this experience in our country.
Thank you very much. Yes, we are here to have a conversation around the topic of internet shutdowns. We all realize that we live by the internet. Internet is like another sort of currency that takes us. So when internet has been shut down, that means there is a way it is going to influence our way of life in terms of communication, in terms of business, in terms of providing services like education, medical services. So we are here to have a conversation around that. We all remember in 2021, in our country had internet shutdowns. Now, all of us were
January.
Yes, around January. So it was a shock. So you call your friend and you're like, what's happening? Is your network working? Like, no, it's not working. So we were so clueless about the issue, and we were not prepared to handle the negative effects. So you find that business stalled, were not able to do the work that we needed to do in time. And it was really a shock for most of us. So we are here to have a conversation, like when something like this happens, how best can we prepare ourselves? How best can we support ourselves? How best can we continue working and communicating in the midst of internet shutdowns? So this is why we are here. And we all understand that internet is important. And yes, I know at some point it has been abused, but on a larger scale, it serves the greater good of the society. So when internet is not available, then what are the other options for us to continue doing our work, to continue communicating? So that is where we go back to even the traditional ways of knocking on your neighbor's door and you know, having these conversations. So that is why we are here to have this chat.
Wow. It's amazing that in January 2021, as a country, most of us, like you mentioned, we have over time, I won't call it addicted, but we clinged onto that resource called internet, especially with the young people. And being a person that works with media, I think the shock was very, very intense. I know every one of us has their experience, but for us, we couldn't liaise with the guys who are in the field. You can't pass on information, you can't get the communications done, and literally that put the businesses stalling. But yet the government somehow retained that other side of communication, that when you go to government aided channels, you could realize they're actually sending data, they're receiving communications, but yet some of media houses are put at a standstill. And for us, the experience, number one, was shocking, like you said, but also it was a surprise. It was a shock that actually the things you could literally freely do before, you can't do between that time. And we all were kind of restrained to even know when is it going to be opened. We didn't know if it was a month or it was just for that political time. And now we can't even verify that the data that was shared as a result of the elections were even right. So besides our involvement in the political space, but yet even our ability to communicate to the masses that we've been communicating through media houses was actually disabled. So people couldn't trust the communications we were sending, and it was a very nasty experiences. And probably it gave us a lesson to be prepared for the next coming elections. I don't know, I know Christine is a businesswoman. Probably she can also share her experience in that very period.
Thank you very much. You will agree with me
internet is the power.
Sure.
It's the power that drives business. Be it a big business, be it a small business, any starting business, it thrives best and it quickly spreads out its the popularity. Yeah, runs it is quickly known on the internet. Yeah, you'll agree with me.
Yeah.
So as a businesswoman, internet shutdown really affected us in terms of advancements, in terms of connecting with our clients, in terms of course, you will talk about internet banking, mobile banking, all those are connected to the internet.
Yeah.
And without them, literally, you'll find that businesses are going to be running quite slow. And the rate at which the income is generated is going to be negated. You'll agree with me. So as me as a baker, I found that internet shutdown affected us, our business so much in terms of whereby customers, communication, delivery were all at a standstill.
Yeah.
And you find that where you could quickly communicate, say via one of the messengers or the applications, the communication apps, you find that you had to go there, or you had to make a phone call. So we found that we lost a lot of finances, income. It was slow. Where you could do in bank transactions online, you had to take time to go down to the bank. So we found that it was quite a hard moment.
How do you also realize that actually Facebook is not yet opened in this country?
No, it's not yet.
And somehow you have to work through the back channel.
So maybe I can also add on when it came to because I'm a content creator. So the content creators were also in another category that are so much affected by internet shutdowns. The content creators and then people who thrive on digital economies, like the media houses like you. So you create your content, and where do you share it? You need to have the digital platforms to share your content. So in the face of all this, how do we navigate? How do we thrive? How do we prepare better in terms of internet shutdowns? Because it's an issue actually that is happening all over. It's not only in Uganda, it's in different countries, in Africa, in Asia, where platforms like Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, Instagram have been blocked and people cannot access them. And then how do you communicate? So internet shutdowns really affect people, yes, differently. People in the media, content creators, she was really talking about businesses. They were very much affected. And it's not just affecting one person, the country loses revenue. So before such a measure is taken, it's good to sit down and calculate the cost, not only for the citizens, but also for the nation. Then there is also the issue of lots of misinformation. When you don't have access to internet, so you just rely on rumors. Yes, you can't verify anything. So at the end of the day, we really need to know how best to work through this internet space, and also have favorable policies that work for ensuring citizens enjoy this right.
Interesting, very interesting, because again, if we have built this pattern for a long time, because yet there were traditional ways of communicating and all this, and then we were shifted into this space that actually the world became a global community, and now shutting it down means that you have disabled us into the ability that you had opened us onto. So it's very, very crippling. Yet it's for me, for me, 2021 was an eye-opener of prepare in case of anything. And remember, we are just coming out of the COVID pandemic,
yes.
where our lives were actually rotating around this resource called internet. So January hits, and then it is out. It's like the world again closed. Like they had locked us down, but then now the world had again closed. So we really, really had to think through how to do it. But yet, preparation for the next. I know you people have ideas. Preparation for 2026 or any other occurrence in that same manner.
Absolutely.
You talked about the visiting our neighbors, knocking on their doors.
Yes, the traditional way is knock on your neighbor's door, find out how they're doing. For some of us who are in workplaces like this big media house, you have notice board where information has been relayed. There are also apps like Briar, messaging apps. You can always message each other as long as the other person has it. So many.
Even so, silence.
Yes, silence. Yes, we can also use silence.
Then you can also share data via hard disks and all that.
Flashes.
Of course, with their small risks, yet we have to work around it.
Yes.
Thank you very much, and that has been our experience as a country. We are still sharing about the experience of the internet shutdown that happened with us in 2021 when we were going through the elections. We again have Hannah with us, and she's here to also share her experience during that time.
Thank you so much, Tim. I mean, okay, vividly, I remember, because it was towards the elections, were coming from COVID, it was still a period of uncertainty, and then before we knew it, we could not communicate, we could not talk to our friends. So it was a bit trying for most of us. But mostly now, when you look back, some of these children were still doing their online studies. It affected them so much. They had to download work. Some of them had to hand in work. And it was a moment of despair. And of course, like they mentioned earlier, the businesses shut down. And we had, like you mentioned earlier, that we had gotten into this global village of we know that we now have to connect, I can easily get to you. But then it was very frustrating for most people. We were waiting for election results. We were waiting for, has COVID now clearly gone out of the world? And then we could not get this information. We definitely relied on the little information that was coming in through here and there. So now I think way forward, this is an eye-opener for all of us, that next time we should not be caught unaware. We should be more prepared. We should look into the different ways of communicating.
Talking about the kids accessing school and materials, you could now understand the the situation that the parent is in, to try to explain to their young child, you can't actually do school, you can't do this, because actually the government has decided to do ABCD, and yet you do not even have evident information
and you don't know when it's going to end.
It's 1 week or it's this thing, and you know it's something that actually breeds a very disturbing manner of the. So my boy is asking me, so does the government just wake up and decide on how we should live, on how we... I believe it is very disturbing. If you're a parent, because I'm a parent, and mentioning that really brings back a lot of experience in that. I know, like you mentioned, the preparation for what is coming. I know Timothy is an IT guy. Yeah. What do we need to do?
Thank you for hosting me. Now this actually brings back old school ways of how we used to live in. You take a picture that we used to even have the push to talk, very, very easy ones, that you just been given area that you wouldn't need to be really very far. You should be near. And then also remember now we had the basics of a phone, minus the internet.
Yeah.
You know, you could still text someone.
Yeah.
You know, where are you? I'm here. You know, still keep on communicating. Yes, it has cut you off the internet of other people maybe in the US or you know in any other places.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know, you can still call them
Yeah,
because I know at least for the calling it doesn't need the internet. You understand? And then also there are some good applications that you can really download.
Okay.
And but this has to be prior before the shutdown.
Yeah,
because remember you can't download an app offline. You understand? So maybe in another way you can really share it off with other friends, so that can make sense.
Okay.
To keep communicating. That also can at least help us to at least keep in touch, even if it comes back again. At least there are ways that you can keep communicating to your family members at work, and then also just to keep maybe running businesses. You can just maybe set up bulletin boards so that at least important information can be pinned there. Probably maybe for the schools, because at least they pin their timetables, they pin their sensitive information most times. So I think you can really play around with that to at least prepare for more that will maybe come next.
Yeah, and mentioning that it also reminds me of how comfortable sometimes we get now that everything is merry and working well, and we think probably these elements are not something we should be engaging with. But I think, like you mentioned, if we keep on echoing these alternatives, even while everything is still smooth, it's running, the internet is okay, I think it's important that we keep sharing this information, because you never know. You never know. We can wake up tomorrow and
it's the same thing.
It's out.
Keep a little cash
Yeah,
near you, just in case
no.
mobile banking is not working.
So preparation before is, for me, it's a highlight. Like be prepared, have this ready with you. We believe as a country that has had this experience vividly, we believe that it's something we can't dock or put behind us. We have to consider any future occurrences, because I know by experience, if it has happened, there's a power of history repeating itself. So we have the information, we have been empowered, and we are also well able to share this very interesting information with our colleagues, with our friends, to be prepared just in case of anything. Thank you very much.